Here's my video on the Bambu Lab P1S 3D printer by Bambu Labs, obviously. This is going to be an unboxing and instructions on how to set it up. So obviously, firstly, you want to just open up the box, which I've already cut open and now opened up, and then just take out a few pieces of foam and bubble wrap out the top. Once you've got that out of the way, you want to detach these two plastic bag handles and then use those to pick the printer up out of the box. You can see the handles aren't that strong, so just be sure to be quick when you do take it out. What you can then start doing is removing the outer packaging. So first, it's obviously the bag that it's already in. Just unpeel that, and then take off any of these other stickers you can see me removing. Make sure to be careful when you start undoing the tape and other packaging on the lid, because this is obviously glass and you don't want to smash this. If we start taking out the inner packaging, which is that cardboard topper and the box of utilities, and then just take out the other bits of styrofoam. As you can see, the styrofoam also has parts of like motors and stuff, so just put these to the side because these are accessories for prints. Then if you turn the printer around and also remove the cellophane off the door, this is taped together obviously so it doesn't open during shipping, and just be gentle with this as well because it is again glass. Next, I'm going to go through all the accessories you get with it, so I'll add the timer so you can skip ahead if you're not interested. Firstly, you've got your free roll of filament, which has come with green on my other ones. This is the screen you need for the printer, obviously. Your Bowden tube, your power plug. This is just a basic kettle lead, so you can swap that out for a longer one. This is the filament holder. This little box has all your screws and a few tools in it, which you will be needing for the assembly, so make sure to keep that to the side. Next step is very important. You need to remove these 3 screws that I'm pointing at now. They do also have stickers pointing to where they are, but without this your bed can't move upwards. So now you'll see me remove these 3 screws. You can just use your Allen key, which is included in the box. Lefty loosely, just get rid of all of those and put them to the side. Now it's time to grab those clippers, which you might already have if you've got a few 3D printers, and then you can just undo these cable ties around the hot end. And then once you've done that, you can take off all the packaging around the hot end, because obviously it can't actually do anything with all that packaging around it. Now it's time to grab that screen, which was in your accessory box, and we're going to plug this in. So firstly, you can see where it needs to be plugged in, this wire here. So make sure you get in the right way, obviously, because there is a correct way to put this in. It is a little bit fiddly, but you should be able to get in reasonably easily. Once you've got this in, you can see it mounts to these 4 holes. So just push it in until it goes all the way in, and you should feel it click. And then push it to the left. The last bit of physical work you need to do is to go around the back of your printer to where you can find these 2 spool holder screws, and then you can attach this spool holder attachment, and you can see me there pointing out which way it needs to go in. So you can find this bag that says for spool holder in it, because you'll need to remove these 2 from the printer and then add the 2 out of the bag. If you're using an AMS unit, you won't need to do this step because, well, you won't be needing the spool holder because you'll be using the AMS. But for anyone else, it's fairly straightforward to just remove this screw. So here you can see me screwing in the spool holder. I would suggest putting it this way up. Doesn't matter which way up or down you have it, but it doesn't matter which end you use. So make sure you get the right end attached to the printer. While you're here around the back, you can also plug in your power lead to obviously give the printer some power. I'll also now show you how to put in the filament. Here you can see I'm using a Sunlu Grey PLA Plus. You need the 1.75mm type. This is what most plastics come in nowadays. Just make sure to unhook this from your spool holder. It will be attached differently depending on your brand. Then just cut a straight edge at the end of the filament. You can then put this on the spool holder and feed it into the Bowden tube. just like that. You are now ready to turn on your printer. So just turn it on with the power switch around the back. It'll first make sure you've actually followed the instructions to unscrew everything. And it once again warns you about those screws. If you haven't taken them out, please make sure you do so before you go through this. The setup process is very, very easy. First thing the printer will do is it will run a self-test after you've selected your language and etc. So all you need to do is read the terms and conditions, make sure you approve them. You can skip all this basically, and then wait and do a self-test. When the print bed lifts up for the first time, you'll also want to grab that packaging foam from underneath it. I would definitely not recommend leaving this in, so make sure to grab this out now while it's still turning on for the first time. Once you've got this out, you can then shut the door on the printer and let the printer just do its self-test for the first time. It'll calibrate and make sure everything's happy and functional for you. After about 20 to 30 minutes, it will then say self-test complete, and you are now ready to use the printer. So the first thing you'll need to do is you'll need to feed the filament. This is different if you have an AMS, but for normal loading, so go into the filament option, which is second tab down, scroll down to feeding and click load. This will then take a few minutes for the printer to heat up. You can see the nozzle temperature going up quite quickly there. Once at temperature, the printer will advise you to load filament from the spool holder. Now all you'll want to do is feed more filament into the Bowden tube, which you already fed it into earlier. This will then indicate to the printer that that's what you want to use, and it will then change its message once you've done this. Now you can see this message, confirm if it has been extruded. You'll now need to check the nozzle to make sure that plastic is actually coming out of the printer. What I tend to do is click retry once or twice and then click done. Here you can see what the plastic coming out of the printer should look like. Now is also a good time to put the lid on the printer. This is very easy because it just slots on. Now you've tested the printer and you've put in plastic, you can start your first ever print. So on the left, go to the bottom menu, that little document folder, and then it's got lots of test prints on there. Now the rule is you always have to do a Benchy, so what we're going to do is we're going to print a Benchy. When you make your own files, it will show up the time and the plastic it will take. It won't on this because it's a test print, and all you have to do is click OK on that. You can see a bit of a snippet here of the printer basically self-calibrating itself before every print. You can turn this off, but I would recommend doing a calibration before every print. This just gives you the best quality possible. Once the printer is calibrated, it will then start printing. Depending on your printer, it will do a small little test run at the front just to clear the nozzle, and it will start printing a very, very quick Benchy. This video is in real time, so this shows just how quick this printer can just start laying down some really accurate plastic. Once the little bench is done, the bed will lower down like this, and then you can open the door and get your new print off. Now the beds are magnetic and they are flexible, so all you can do is just lift it up by that little hold handle at the front, and as you can see, you've now got a Benchy. You can use the flexible plate to snap it off the bed. When you put it back on, you need to make sure it goes the right way around, and it's got two little locator tabs at the back, so it should be very easy. As you can see, this is a very, very nice little Benchy. That's the Bambu Labs application. This is what the application looks like when you load it, and you can see Benchy 100% completed. To choose a file, go to micro SD card, and this is where your files will show up. Currently there's nothing on the printer because I haven't sent it any yet, but we will get to that later. First thing you want to do is go to firmware version and make sure that the printer is up to date. You will of course need to add this to your internet first and connect it to the app. which I didn't show you because I didn't really want my QR code to go live out there. But just make sure to update the printer now. That's pretty much it on how to set up the Bambu P1S. If it would be helpful, I can do more in-depth videos on how to do the slicing, how to make better prints, etc., and how to find good settings. But most of the default settings are pretty good. This printer is very good. It's for pretty much just straight out the box without changing anything. So I'm quite happy with it so far. If you do have any questions at all about this printer or any setup or anything like that, please do feel free to comment below. Or if you want any in-depth videos about anything like that, just let me know and I can have a look at what I can do.